Anyway, two o'clock. Great thing. Yeah, that's the same. Right, so I knew that we have two cameras now, one in front, one in back. Excuse me. How you doing? How you doing?
That's always a good thing.
Yeah. That's a great thing.
I better read I better do the fundamental thing.
See that from we can, picture that. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hello, how
Don't worry about it. Picture. Here. Oh.
I'm glad you were going on.
attending today's meeting. I'd like to welcome our community, our staff, our stakeholders, our CEO, and our board members. Today's meeting, I'd like to get this meeting called to order at this time. Let me do a roll call, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Director Snowden,
Present.
Director Odell,
Here.
Director Stone,
Present.
Director Lockett.
They're on their way. We were all in the county meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thank you for that. information.
it's right behind.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Director Lockett not present during roll call. Director Adams, not present during roll call. Director Robinson,
Present.
Director Leggett, not present during roll call. Director Taylor
Present.
and Chairman Cody.
Present.
Chairman, you have a forum for today's meeting.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to get, approval of today's agenda.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Have a second.
Second.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you, Director Snowden.
Yes.
For the approval of today's agenda?
Yes, I seconded.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Director Odell.
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett, not present for the vote. Director Adams, not present for the vote. Director Robinson,
Yes, yes.
thank you. Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Hearing motion passed to approve item 2.1.
Thank
Okay, now is it at this point, this is just 2.1.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
This is
When do we ask to table things? Yeah, we're not at
When-
4 yet.
when we get to that category.
Okay, presentation.
First, we have ETU with 1324 leadership update. By our president, Ms. Danya Swinton.
Thank you, Chairman Cody. Good afternoon to the Board of Directors, the public at large, tax staff. This is the union's report for October 2024. The union entered, last October 2023, a formal document to the previous CEO to organize security call center ticket rental and parts clerk. The CEO did respond October 27, 2023, November 15, 2023, ATU International Attorney responded. November 2023, the bargaining unit signed a petition and displayed it for the Board of Directors. So we are now a year later for our final act of the Board of Directors to end a vote next month on the organization of the low-wage employees that were classified. This request is before the union moves to the final stage of public organization. So we asked this so that we will not have to do a public organization for the board to vote next month. Next, the union had only 3 major grievances. September 8th was one that may be heading to arbitration. We had a training grievance that was not rectified, and we have a seniority violation in para that was rectified. The union also received 7 blueprints, which are operators' complaints or issues that are written down from each department, 1 in maintenance, 2 in para, and the rest in 3. Accident between September and November, there were 17 accidents in 1 month. 9 of the operators are newly trained out of training. This is the issue that the union will be discussing and setting up something with management staff to find out how can we correct these issues. Because we don't want that many accidents in 1 month. The union is asking that the board enters a vote on the retention bonus for all employees. We'll have a remainder of $20 employees. 78 remain out of the 101 employees that did not receive it. 23 should be compensated. 47 have not been here a year, so they are not in compliance, and that would be 31 that have actually been here also a year. So the union actually more to enter a vote to get these employees paid with the retention bonus that they were promised with no stipulation. The union also wants the board to look at the biometric clocking system. I did meet with management. We have met with senior management about the biometric clocking system and our concerns. We are supposed to email. In fact, I have it printed. I just have to email all of it to management, but I will afford the board a copy also with senior management so they can see our concerns on this biometric. And I rather get this over into the policy because the company cannot force biometric. I rather for this to also be in agreement with the union, being the board of directors, there is have a policy in place for accountability and litigation concerns. The union is also requesting consent forms from the company to give to the employees if they want to obtain their biometric for the testing right now of the system. And the union also will need a written agreement before this system is to be implemented. The union also requests this system is to be for all CAT employees with no exception. This also came from the international, after the meeting, so they asked me to give y'all the information. The positive is, which was breast cancer month, and every year, the opportunity, we do have a lot of breast cancer. People that have survived the breast cancer here on management side and operation side. So they do get to dress up in pink t-shirts and regular uniforms for the operators and accessorize, and so they manage to staff to support breast cancer every option that's been going on for years. So that was a positive. Also, Mr. Boatwright, our DEI, is the old officer. He organized a meeting of engagement with management staff, and he invited the union and recognized Hispanic Culture Month. So that was another side. And also, Ms. Ariel Johnson extended to the union her yearly invite to the union to promote a public positive engagement relationship with the management and the union for Veterans Day Parade and Savannah State Homecoming Parade. Also, October 14th, the safety committee meets to get a step closer to PTAS and safety concerns. We're gonna try to be on time this time with PTAS. So that's all that we really have. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. We're gonna move into our consent items.
Can we move
Do we have any-
to individual action?
Yes.
And
Which
also,
action would you like to remove? Do we have any?
well, I like the action item 2 and 6 to go under the individual action items. 2, 3, and 6. Yeah, and I do want to ask a question about 7, but I think it might could be answered without having to take it to an action item.
I'm sorry.
We have 3. We got 2,
Okay, please.
6, 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I have that noted, Mr. Chairman, to remove items 3, 2, 6, and 7 to individual.
But you said you just had a question on 7? I think the 7, the question on 7 could be answered probably. Okay. Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
go ahead now, sir.
Yeah. 7.
Yeah, what, I guess it's more of a suggestion, because several times we've been asked to ratify things after the fact. And I think there's gotta be a better system in place. If staff is aware of something needs to be ratified, is it legal, Andrew, for the board to just have a phone call and say, this is happening, we would like to ratify it? Because these are happening after the fact. Because, what they're asking for has already been done.
I
So would it
think,
be a simple matter of just, is a phone call legal to every board member? Just to say this, and then bring it for a formal vote, but make us aware in advance that this is coming?
I think it's absolutely acceptable to give a heads up, an informal heads up to the board that it's coming. I don't think that the board can, take any formal action by phone, ahead of the meeting. Similarly, also, it is acceptable and allowable to ratify after the fact. So it's legal, it's binding, it's fine. But I understand the concern with, being called upon to ratify things that have already happened.
Yeah. But I'm saying, things happen, stuff happens.
Sure.
What I'm saying, but if staff knows in advance
Mhm.
that this is gonna come to us, can we know in advance that we're gonna be asked to ratify something before it hits?
Oh, I think, yeah, I
Send out in an email.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's
what I was
right.
thinking.
I think that's a good practical way to handle that.
Okay. That was pretty much all I had. That.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda with the exception of 2, 3, and 6.
Second. Everything
Sorry. Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yeah.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Here.
Director Adams,
Yes.
and I'm sorry, Director Lockett. We are approving consent items. Yes,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
thank you. That's right. I knew you're coming from another long meeting. Director Robinson,
Yeah.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote, Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman motion passed to approve consent items 1, 4, 5, 7, and 8.
Individual action item.
Mr. Chairman, do we need to move to vote on these, or you can vote on those out of the individual
That's what we want.
So, on the individual action items, I wanna move to table all the clever device items. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
June, 3, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6.
table them, do you have a date? Certain?
Well, what I would like to request is that we bring in an independent IT consultant to come in and assess the organization and write an IT plan. Because we are piecemealing things, and I am concerned that when we are weighed and measured later regarding this amount of money, that we need to be more specific in what our goal is than what we're doing. This is a lot of money.
So do you put your request in a motion, the motion to have the inventory done?
Yes, I can, yeah.
So I think it would be so there would be two motions, one to table.
One to
One
table
to four.
And then
and one to request staff to hire an independent IT consultant
Yes.
to assess the organization and to write an IT plan. And to determine if all of these pieces we have will fit together as a puzzle into one picture, or if it's gonna be just disjointed. And number 3, is that part of IT as well? Because that's a program.
It is for database services that is mandatory to support the data that's collected from the overall transportation system.
Okay,
The board approved previously for 2 years.
Mhm.
That expired, I believe, in May. And Clever has been working with us by not discontinuing the services until it could come before the board for approval.
Number 3 is a part of Clever as well.
Yes. And
So
all
that's
of
an
this,
additional 89,000.
all of this is grant funded in a grant that was approved for submission back in 2020, 2019, 2020. For a rehaul of the ITS system. And everything on this report is included as a part of that grant application that was approved and the grant received. This is a fiscal year 2022 grant,
What is our portion of the grant that we have to pay?
20%.
And I'm sorry, before we go into discussion, we have a motion on the floor. We just need a second and then we can go into the discussion, if we may.
So the motion to table,
Mhm.
okay, I can second.
And I second the second.
Okay.
It's
So
not
motion
gonna
to table.
cause any disruption.
And a second.
Well, the hosting,
I know.
I mean, this is, we need to know this. Is it gonna cause any disruption?
the hosting and the database, yes, it could actually shut down.
Okay, so y'all, we need to come to some agreement here. I don't wanna shut us down.
What is it?
I have asked for an IT plan for over a year. I've asked it. From the previous CEO, I asked it. It was not provided. I understand it's not the current ICEO issue. She did not refuse to provide it, but it has not been provided. We piece and part things together as though we are jimmy rigging a system. This is a lot of money. I don't understand why we don't have an IT plan that says we have this, we need to do this, we're going to do this, and we're gonna move forward this way. We don't have an inventory, it's disjointed. It is disjointed.
But if you look, now when I look at the notes or whatever that was, we were supplied to explain what was what. What I've been hearing is that Clever cannot speak to what we have. That's not true.
No, because when we had a different,
Yeah,
it was a third vendor
right.
that
That was in 2019. I
yes,
think it was.
we got rid of them, and Trapeze and Clever was supposed to work together to present a unified system.
Right.
I don't know if we ever got them to do what we were supposed to do then.
We did,
And
we did.
the way that in the last IT workshop, the way it was presented, it was as if Trapeze was obsolete. Trapeze is not obsolete. The program that we are using is no longer being serviced because it is outdated. But we had a whole sales presentation from Clever. Did we allow Trapeze to do a sales presentation? You know, are we sure that Clever is the best option? Should we go out and look? If we're gonna pay millions of dollars, then how do we need to be sure. At some point, we're going to be weighed and measured the decisions that we make. And if it does not look as though we've done our due diligence,
Like a board.
as a board, we are going to be judged lacking. And I am uncomfortable with this amount of money without something that says, get on this road and walk this way.
But I think the other thing too, Andrew, I asked a question when we did the presentation with Clever. But I never got a response because I was concerned about the legal how we even handle that presentation.
So my understanding was that there was already a contract.
We are under contract with Clever. It doesn't expire until 2026, a 5-year contract. That contract was a part of this grant application that was submitted to the FTA. If we were to cancel that contract, we would have to pay the FTA over, I think it was $2.2 million that we contracted with Clever. That procurement was initiated in 2018. An RFP did go out. 5 proposals came in. Trapeze did not submit a proposal. So because CAT had recently procured some software from Trapeze, Director Gill's absolutely correct. They had to force that piece of software of Trapeze to talk with the newly procured software. At that time, IT was handled by the maintenance department. They did the very best that they could. Prior to the RFP going out, CAT had procured this software from Trapeze. Once the board awarded the contract to Clever, they had to make it work. And that's why those extra pieces of software to integrate Trapeze into Clever were procured at an additional cost. There is nothing outlined that wasn't a part of this grant application that was awarded by the FTA in fiscal year 2020. And that's the concern and the problem. It's a contractual agreement that is grant funded. Now, if the board decides and recommends that staff put out an RFP for a new comprehensive system as to what we are trying to do now, we would have to wait, or else we would have to pay the FTA that money back.
Okay, I don't want to cancel the contract, and I don't want to put us in jeopardy of having to pay the money back. What I don't want to do is continue to piece and part. We argued about Trapeze and what was the other one called? Endeavor or?
Indra.
We argued about Indra, Trapeze, and Clever at that time. And we argued about the RFP. And we argued, we don't know. And we argued that maintenance was probably not the best place for IT to be housed. And I think at that time, for the next policy year, they decided to bring in or add a position. So for IT, that was one of the reasons that position was added, because we were concerned that maintenance was over IT, and they were, while they did the best they could, they were not qualified to evaluate IT issues. And so we piece and part something together then. We are piecing and parting something together now, and it's going to cost us too much money to not be sure. And
Can I ask a question?
sure,
Let me ask a question. I'm just gonna ask a question, whoever wants to answer can answer it. Do we have an IT plan since 2019?
no.
So,
If I'm wrong, am I wrong? No.
so what
there-
is the problem with getting an IT plan that shows us as a board exactly what we have, what we need to, we got this book, I got this book on Friday.
Yes,
I don't
the
think my
previous
weekend
CEO
was-
never explained why we couldn't have an
Right,
IT plan.
right, whatever this was, I've not had a chance to look at it because I got it on Friday. I've thumbed through it, so but I'm still questioning the fact is, if we don't have an IT plan, what is the issue of doing what you suggested? If we can't do it, get somebody who can.
And and just bring somebody, an independent consultant in to look at the situation and give us a recommendation that says, yes, you are moving in the right direction. we're going to be judged by all of these decisions that we make. At some point, there's gonna be another board that's gonna say, the previous board spent a whole bunch of money that they recklessly did. I don't want that legacy.
And I think what is important, when you see a document that says the authority is the board. And I think at some point, we've got to recognize that, and that's what she said, the board carries the weight of what goes right and what goes wrong. So
Yeah.
all I'm asking is, I can agree with having an outside person come in. I think we need to figure out a timeline, we need to figure out how it's gonna happen.
So that it has the least amount of impact as possible on the system. But if the contract is valid, at least through the end of the year, and we can function through the end of the year, let's just bring somebody in. And if we gotta pay them to quickly assess, let them quickly assess. We do not have a plan. And our current CEO is doing the best she can to piecemeal together, to provide us with the information that we're asking. And, it's unfair to expect her to provide a document that we couldn't get over the course of a year. That's not fair.
I don't think that there
I'd
is,
like to hear from the CEO.
there is no opposition to an IT plan. That's really, the assignment has already been made. It's gonna happen. And that's a part of my update. Everything that you all have asked for in the last board meeting is gonna be a part of the next update. I'm almost done with it. You'll probably get it tomorrow. My concern is that Pat applied for a grant to do exactly what is recommended. We have a contractual agreement that does not expire until 2027. We voted on and purchased that clever system. Now, there has been challenges to the numbers. Anything that's manually manipulated to work, that's a high risk of error. Those are the facts. If this board, in order to comply with FTA regs, to honor our contractual agreements, the purchase of a new system, the RFP process should start in 2026. I think the IT plan is a good thing, just like the master plan and a capital plan, so you know where you're going. One thing CAT needs is a holistic, comprehensive system where the data is extracted based upon where that bus is going, how many passengers gets on, the schedule that's been dropped in, the board changes, and all of that. One system wherein you generate reports, you get your results. It reduces the probability of error. And when the FTA comes in, whether it's triennial or FMO, and they see this handwritten spreadsheet or what, it really isn't good. That's all this is trying to do, is to get us through the end of the contract term to produce data that's captured under one system. That's all this is doing.
And I think.
But we need
You got
all
time.
6 pieces to get us through the end of the contract.
Well, good question. An example, disruption management. What disruption management does is
Which one
adjust.
is that? Oh, I see number 5.
Yes, what that does, it helps in emergency situations, it helps with construction when routes have to be detoured. It helps if for any change, driver calls out, all of that, that's what that software does. It just provides efficiency in that manner without the control center having to write it down and all of that kind of stuff. That's what that does. Hosting, we have to have it. The data management, we have to have it. What are the other pieces?
Database.
Database, you have to have it.
So essentially,
Yeah.
all of these pieces, in order to get us through to the point where we need to be, not, breaking our contract, not having to pay any money back. We need to accept this for now, but in 2026, and this will become a part of the IT plan that you are writing.
Whatever, it will go out for bid, a request for proposals. Hopefully, we'll get several in. The proposals will be presented to the board. And of course, a recommendation will come from staff. And they would have to justify whatever the recommendation is to the board. It just so happens when the Clever system, and it is the base system. Clever is your base system that supports operations. We cannot go out and buy another piece to fit with Clever right now because there are trademarks and all kinds of, it's a contract that we bought. We wrote a grant that talked about every piece that's on this agenda.
But if we do this, it's crazy for us to try to redo the entire system in 2 years. This is over that's like $1.8 million. We should not do an RFP in 2027 if we spend this kind of money.
We have time right now to go through this, as you said, we can get an IT consultant in, and we can still go through this, we got time. Saying the contract is not up
And
to
also,
26,
we're only
27.
paying, we're paying only 20% of this.
Correct.
That's the local match, yes.
But and the money's
And
spread
I
over
mean,
5
money's
years.
money, but, and I agree, but it's not like we're paying the total amount. But I agree that we need to get someone to come in,
Yes.
but for right now, we can't disrupt our services.
But we
And
got
this
to-
is what we've got, so
That's
I think we should.
And you know, and here again, the staff that was here then, they were not experts in the field of IT hardware and software. They were trying to keep the buses functioning, with what they needed to, what we needed to capture data to send back up to the FTA to validate this grant money. We had a existing contract with Trapeze, couldn't get out of it. Trapeze did not submit a proposal. 5 came in. Clever was recommending, and that's what Cat purchased. And that's what it's all about. We're trying to make the system work. It's really not coming up at the last minute. And one thing, a lot of times we take too long to do things and we get too far into it, but we have what, 3 more years. And if an RFP goes out and you build on your system to make it better, to meet your needs. As you expand, you may need another component of whatever system you have, whether it's Trapeze or Clever. The point is, Cat chose Clever back in 2019. So they chose Clever. And that's why we're where we are. I understand, I think Director Odell is correct. I definitely support an IT plan, you know, IT is high tech and all of that. And they definitely can bring about even future things that we need to look at if we decide to go out, or even how we can enhance what we currently have to maximize its efficiency.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. I think we have the master plan, we have a capital plan, which the IT plan connects and fits. Of course, we have to maintain depreciation schedules on vehicles and all of that, because all of this stuff is audited. I don't want anybody to think that CAT is just that haphazard. But every dime that this agency spends have to be audited. It's not flippant, or, some things may be impulsive, but not all of the facts. But when staff has done the best that they knew how, and it was accepted, let's try to make it work. That's all I ask, so that our numbers are credible.
We have a motion. I was not gonna make a motion, I will make a statement. And I'm going back to, Director Snowden, of course, although we have the situation we're in, Director Snowden's opinion was the better one under these conditions. That's what I support.
So we don't have a second on promotion, I don't think.
I'm not.
We do our second, but,
You did,
and the other, but you're gonna make a second motion to do the outside.
Yeah, but we have to dispense.
Right, I
with
know,
the motion that's
yeah,
on the
but I
floor.
wanna make sure that we still gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a
The
question.
motion-
That was a couple of-
But let me back up,
Well-
the motion was
Table.
to table all this,
Right.
and you seconded
I
that.
did.
All right, so we need to vote that up or down.
I have a question,
Gotta come from.
we talk about and vote on a lot of stuff. And I want to know, is it possible, before we vote on it, if, I think it needs to be a certain dollar amount, the end user need to be able to demo it and give us feedback on how they're doing, because we're not the ones that's using none of this. The people in the field are the ones that's using it, and we're voting on stuff that we'll never get a chance to use, and we'll never know how it's being used. So there has to be a way that, whether it's IT or whatever department we're voting on, they get a chance to demo it. And then let us know if it's good or not, because we keep spending money. And then if it's not right, we've already signed, sealed, and it's been delivered. There's nothing we can do.
I think that's where, the consultants have come in to let us know the literature, what's going on.
Here again, you all are not understanding. We have a contract with Clever Devices through 2027.
Yeah.
So why do we need to vote on this today?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got time.
Okay, I think because what I heard in the last meeting, the perception that it was a sales pitch, it was not. The operations, planning, and IT staff, based on the needs to run an efficient transportation system, this is what they said they needed. We went to Clever to procure these different modules and software to make it work. They can better tell you why it doesn't work. They can better tell you why sometimes the numbers are this over here and different over there. It's because of the manual manipulation feature.
The board want to bring in the consultant to confirm what Clever is telling us. We don't,
That's what we just heard, wasn't it?
yeah. So we have a
I
motion.
just think there's confusion, so.
Man, would that be a waste of money?
No.
May I offer a
The
suggestion?
IT plan is good. I think we need that. We really do. But what I'm saying is, it's not gonna do anything for what we have in hand.
Right, so To our CEO, could you surmise this and then address Director Odell's questions? And
Director
then
Stone, I did that. I
Well,
wrote, I
I'm just
gave
trying
a
to-
whole report
to-
that gave the history dating back. I can even tell you when they started, when CAT started with trustees, it was in 2004. I just couldn't find any records to state what that was. But I was able to research and find the history of Clever to lay it out. It qualified for anything with Clever qualifies as a sole source procurement because we bought a system.
I understand.
Just like Munis, we can't go in and we just can't. All I'm trying to get you all to understand, the IT plan is going to help us moving forward. I want you all to understand that every year the auditor comes in, depreciation schedule, inventory, all of that kind of stuff. That's what auditors do. They come in and they sample and they're not committed to CAT. They have to rely on the integrity of their CPA license, and they are not going to bid for anybody. It just doesn't work like that. And yes, we have to produce all of those documents. And I wholeheartedly agree that we need and support an IT plan. As a part of the appendix, it will give the current status of every piece of equipment we own and what we lease. CAT don't own servers. We have to lease them from anything. IT is very, very, very expensive. And when you're talking about a system, you're talking about millions of dollars, millions of dollars. You know, we're coming up on SPLOST 8. We can even include some components of that because it's attached to the buses. When we buy a bus, it's the bus plus the hardware and software needed to go on the bus, whether it's cameras or all of that. And when we write our grants, we're writing better grants to include everything that that bus needs to operate and to be managed the way it should. Before it was piecemeal. We wrote a grant for a bus, but left off the cameras and other things. But as you learn and you grow, you do better. And that's what we're trying to do, is to do that.
I want to make a suggestion here that we do move forward with an IT plan. And I call the question on the motion that is currently on the floor.
You got it first, second.
So
The motion was to continue this and then it was seconded.
and then you're calling. the
Continue
question.
number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Was table.
To table.
Table it, I'm sorry, table it, that is the correct word.
And Director Stone, you're making an amendment.
I know, I'm calling the question.
Okay, for the vote.
Yes.
Director Snowden,
No.
Director Odell,
Yeah.
Director Stone,
No.
Director Lockett,
No.
Director Adams,
No.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett. Not present for the vote. Director Taylor,
Yes.
Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman motion failed to table items 2 through 6.
We going,
Mr. Chairman, I think we
Well,
can
I'm
go to
sorry.
individual action items and then
Hold
the ones.
Leggett is not here, so it's actually 4-4 vote, which Mr. Andrew, I think it's still.
So I had it as 4-3 to table, am I?
It's four.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4
Disrupt our
disabled and 4 opposed.
Yeah, you can disrupt.
So the chairman voted yes, Robinson voted yes, Odell voted yes, and Taylor voted yes. That's 4 to table.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We got
3 voted not to
Oh,
table.
okay, so the motion passed.
So the motion passes and it's tabled.
I'm sorry.
No, 4 voted.
Four.
We got
Four
We
voted
got four.
not to take.
You got a board.
4 voted
Oh,
to not,
okay,
so it's 4-4.
4-4. So
It's gonna be the same both ways.
then it's, say it again,
It's gonna be the same both ways, to go to up or down. It's going to be a flag. No, it's gonna fail.
so the tabling fails is what you're saying.
Yeah, and then when it's time to vote it, if the votes stay the same, that's gonna fail. We're uneven right now. So.
Right. So we'll be going to,
Gotta go back to the consent agenda.
No, Andrew, you guys have explained, unless everybody else understands, except me. You got a tie.
So it
With the
fails.
automatic.
So you have to vote on it individually.
So it's not tabled, it's back
It's
on
not
the table.
tabled, it's on
Okay, that's what I want to be clear. Gotcha.
So we picked up the ones that were on the consent agenda that were pulled,
yes,
starting with number 2.
Well, logically, wouldn't we then proceed with the individual action items for progress?
Either way.
We move 2 and 3 to individual items.
So you can
So
do
you have to-
number 4 after,
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
We would do the consent items after the individual items. have
That's
been-
fine.
But is it okay for me to ask for an explanation for the red line on individual action item number 1? Can I have some clarity on that? And the only reason why I'm asking is because in September, we said we gotta get this done, gotta get it done. And we put it out there, people answered the call, and we said we have it done by this morning. So, I just need to know where are we and actually what happened.
Yes, thank you for asking that question, Dr. Robinson. What happened when the action item got to my desk for review? As you all remember, on last month, I committed to reviewing everything that would come before you. As I read the policy and I looked at the action item, the policy calls for categories totaling 100%. The action item only included categories totaling 88%. Which means that would have had an impact on the score. Because 88% is much less than 100%. It was violation of policy and it needed to go back to staff to correct whatever the issue was. I really didn't pay attention to who applied, what they really didn't. It just was not in compliance with policy. Dr. Maddie is over maintenance and asset management. He was out of the office. I did call him. And he didn't have all of the information in time for it to come before the board. And that's why I asked for it to be delayed.
Let me ask a question, because what I just heard was a mathematical error.
No, it was criteria. You had one criteria.
But I guess I was asking, but are we gonna wait till November to do this? That was just a
Don't have
matter
to.
of correcting or?
Don't have to,
Okay,
we.
because I just don't want the public to
Yes.
continue to have to wait.
And
so,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
We don't have to wait
Okay.
until November, but we do, I recommend that we do allow staff and the committee to go back to make sure we are judging these applications correctly.
yeah, but we've done this before. So what policy, so the policy changed from the last time we did this, it was just not adhered to. And I'm gonna have to piggyback on, something, Director Odell said earlier. I think it's a disservice to you sometimes, to have you have to do things that should have been right in the first place. And I just want to say that openly. So, and I think at some point, folks have to help the Congress.
You know, and I sincerely believe this. As we grow and learn, we do that. Because we can't change what happened years ago. We really can't, but we can commit, not only in this, but in all things,
Well said.
to doing things. moving
Yeah,
forward.
and I think that we should not cause the public to have to wait because of what we didn't do.
I agree.
So I'm suggesting that this comes back to us sooner than later.
So am I hearing, we have a special call meeting once?
As long as whatever it takes to get that done, whatever it takes to get that done.
Sure.
All right, we ready to move to two action proposed. Request board authorization for the interim executive director to renew clever devices and your hosting services from May 18, 2024 through May 17, 2027. We have a motion in the second. I so move.
I second it.
Now, this is, this 226 thing, right?
So we're doing this individually, so this would be item 5.2. Director Snowden,
But, hold it. I know, but, yeah, I still just told us it's all one piece. And, you can't vote up one and vote down the other.
Well, these are separate action items.
Right, but,
They make up a system.
right,
And each piece, like I explained, the disruption management,
right,
it helps us with DQs, emergencies, and that kind of thing. That's not necessarily mandatory, but it's efficient. It enhances the operation of the system. Some of these things, the majority of it is mandatory.
which are,
Two, what is that? That's hosting, that's mandatory. We going one by one. Action.
yeah, I'd like to know.
That, number two is mandatory.
Mhm.
That is your, hosting service. You have to have a server to host your data. That's what this is about. Can't do without.
So there's a motion to sign, right?
Yes.
we have a motion made by Director Lockett and seconded by Director Snowden. For item 5.2. Chairman, would you like to?
Yes.
Roll call, Director Snowden,
Yeah.
Director Odell,
No.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson. Five point two.
I think I need to explain. Can I do this? Because I'm just not clear.
You can.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor
Yeah.
and Chairman Cody.
No.
Chairman motion passed to approve item 5.2.
Right. 5.3, action proposed request board authorization for the interim executive director CEO to renew Clever Devices annual database service.
This service is required. It is a part of the, services that, manages the scheduling, the routing, the board changes. Without this, you have none of those services.
We have a motion and second. So move.
Second.
Yeah, we're gonna do a roll call.
Okay, Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
No.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
On these clever device items, this is a lot of money, and I'm really conflicted on if we're doing the right thing. I know we need to sustain, I know we need to keep going. I just think that the fact that we don't have this IT plan makes me very, very, very conflicted, very conflicted. So we go item 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm gonna abstain.
Let me share this.
I'm abstaining.
I just had a comment because it's important to me that the board understands. Your system cannot work without these
I got
pieces.
you. I got it.
Just can't work. And a grant was submitted to the FTA that included all of these pieces. Funding. We have to count our passengers. We have to schedule our buses and route and all of that. I don't know how to say it in any better to, I clearly get the IT plan.
No, you've done well.
Right
You've
on
done well.
point.
You've done well.
We just have to work through this difficult piece. I know it's hard.
It's hard.
It is a lot of money,
It's hard.
but it has to be.
okay, let me finish, okay. Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor
Yeah.
and Chairman Cody.
No.
Chairman motion passed to approve item 5.3.
All right, action 4. Action proposed request board authorization for the executive director to use the contract with Clever Devices to install Iris automatic passive count. We have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I second it.
No.
Okay. Director Snowden,
Well, she was going to explain whether it's mandatory or not.
It is the current system that we currently have. It counts strollers and objects. But this one, this particular APC system, it counts from overhead and does not count objects.
Just mandatory.
Yes.
Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
No.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Abstain.
Director Leggett, not present for the vote. Director Taylor
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
No. Individual action item 5. Authorization for the executive director as CEO to execute a contract with Public Devices to install disruption management software.
Okay, disruption management is just as the title indicates, it's a system that provides real-time data that helps with planning of detours, that kind of thing, any changes or adjustments to what has already been entered into the system. This helps with managing changes, emergencies, detours, those sort of services.
That's something you don't have to have. All that's,
As you all know, we can monitor, detours, manually. But that's radioing out to drivers, it's really not real time, it's after the fact, sometimes we're notified of closure, sometimes we don't. This system allows real-time data entry. Once it's received, it's entered, the routing revised. It's a system enhancement is what it is.
Can I add something here? In the beginning of this meeting, we were told that all of these items were not just necessary, but they were contractual. We were told that if we did not work through this contract, that we'd have to pay money back. And we still sitting here going one by one about something that we have inherited that we cannot change right now. I have a problem with it. I just need to make that known. I need that to be a part of the records. When you've been told that something is contractual, when you've been told that if we don't carry this out, we're gonna have to pay money back, when you've been told that not doing this will totally disrupt our system, why are we going through this?
We've been told we should have time also.
Let me
We have
make sure
time
we're
for
clear.
And
We
let-
bought
and let-
the-
This is a decision that has to be made today.
And let's be clear, we're talking about $654,000.
We know exactly how much money we're talking
For
about,
one item.
but
for
we
one
also know
That
that is an item that we have inherited again, that we cannot get out of, that we're paying 20% of, that until we get through this contract, there's nothing else we can do about it.
And we got them,
Well,
we're voting on it.
the
and we
base-
vote
You know,
out.
you abstaining, you ain't voting
Right,
on nothing.
it's still nothing. So we doing.
And I just needed to say
Let's get
that.
back to our business,
Yes.
please. I understand.
we had a motion and a second on the table.
Do you need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
We do.
I make the motion.
Second. Well,
Item 5.5, Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
No.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson, Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yeah.
and Chairman Cody.
No. Item 6, action propose and request board authorization for executive director and CEO to execute a contract with Collaborative Devices, implementation services and software as a service fee. We have a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
No, the 583, 210 is that be divided by 5 years? Or every year we're paying 583, 10, 210?
That's the total cost.
So 5 years we're spending
Yes.
583.
Yes,
Okay.
for 5 years. That's the financial impact for 5 years.
Any more questions, comments? Kevin?
Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell, Director Odell, not present for the vote. Director Stone, Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Same.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yeah.
and Chairman Cody.
No.
Chairman motion passed to approve item 5.6.
Thank
Director, Director Odell, did you want to count the vote for 5.6?
No.
Okay.
We can revisit our consent items.
Yeah.
Going to number 2.
Yeah.
Request board approval for authorization to change order number 3 to extend vendor delivery of 2 ferry vessels by 20 days. You have, any comments?
I asked us to move that to the action item because I think we've asked this question before. When we get these delays, first with the hurricane, this and that, like you're saying, what recourse do we have as far as gaining some money back for the delay?
It's just whether or not it's a justifiable delay at no, caused not by the manufacturer. And in this case, they couldn't get a supply item that they needed to move the construction, so they asked for the 20-day delay.
So in the original contract, there was no stipulation about what happens when, these things happen. I'm just wondering how we protect it, we don't have our.
It's in the contract, and I think.
It is,
And-
so the contract has provision, sets forth a process for determining when a delay is justified. And if it's justified, there's no compensation due. And so under the criteria for determining what constitutes an excusable delay, these particular 20-day events were completely justifiable under any definition. There would be no way to argue that it wasn't justifiable. Now, if they walk away, take other work in from other companies, other customers, say they all of a sudden unilaterally want 6 months extra, they would not be able to satisfy the contractual criteria for excusable delay, and the result would be different.
But
So
this,
there is a yeah.
but this is the second request for delay.
It's the third, isn't it?
But, I think,
I
remember this
remember
one more.
one change order had something to do with the type,
The mirror or the metal or.
the type 10 or something to do with the window.
Right.
So
One,
let me
And
just say,
then there was another change order to add monitors, to ratify monitors for the fair.
It's the third.
yeah, but that was the monitors was something we wanted.
That's, yes.
So you can't put that on them.
No,
And the
that
20
wasn't on
days
there.
for a hurricane and there's no way not to justify that. There's no way to argue that that's not justifiable. The other thing is, if you've ever known a construction contract, $5 million, $10 million, whatever it is, that hasn't had change orders, I mean, it's just part of the business. It's just what happens. And so these are, I would characterize them as minimal, very minimal.
But you add the cost of us having to keep repairing the fleet that we're
Understood.
trying to have. You see what I'm saying? It's still costing us. So I'm just overly
Well,
concerned.
the major repairs, we've already taken that hit. I mean, we
Yeah.
put a lot of money,
But
and I just wanted to say, the other change orders, they didn't add any additional time
Mhm.
to the construction.
The cost, or the cost.
Yeah, it did add costs.
So that's, but we cannot overlook the fact that we are incurring a cost if we gotta keep repairing the old bit. And
That's
that's
right.
real money.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's. real money.
understood, but it's also, under, contract law, you can't
No, I
put
understand that.
it
part.
on, if it's just, the contract has a procedure for determining what's
I
justifiable.
accept
And the
that.
weather delays causing their suppliers to, be disrupted, we can't put it on them.
Right, and I
If it was different, if there was a different type of delay, and we're always looking at it,
Mhm.
any request for a delay or a postponement of the delivery date, we're analyzing it, we're looking at the contract language, what are the criteria, and we're making the determination whether it's fair for us to argue that it's not a justifiable delay and we get compensation, so,
I like that language that
Right.
you are looking at.
yeah, absolutely, we are.
Because again, we do need to look at it.
Yep.
That's our.
Now, that works both ways. we will be probably asking for a delay in delivery simply because last week the contractor that's dredging the river notified our Marine Services Director that they will in no way be ready to receive these funds. So, we will need, and we have been in communication to see if that is a possibility, without any additional cost to CAT. And the company is willing to work with us on it.
And Kevin, what I would suggest is at some point, that conversation, if not by the whole board, should be had between you and the chairman. So we have a clear understanding
It's
of
coming
what's
in.
anticipated, because you're already saying what's anticipated. So I think
Yes.
it's so important that the communication to the board
Yes,
is as current as possible.
it's coming in the updates.
Well, I'm
That's-
thinking about a one-on-one, conversation, with the board chair, I think would be helpful. That's just my suggestion. We can.
I've sent emails, but a lot of times I'm not getting responses, but I'll make the phone calls and try to get the chairman. So,
Well, and since I asked it to be pulled, I'll make a motion that item number 2 be pulled.
Yes.
second,
Yes, sir. That's right, Mr. Chairman, Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed to approve item 4.2 under individual.
All right, 4.3, request board approval to submit an application and approve resolutions for the mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities, FTA, section 5310. We have, any questions or comments?
I do. So is this component another part of Clever? What
It's number
component, what
3.
component is this?
Number 3.
Cause it's,
5310,
no, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
it's 5310, yeah, but this is a computer program.
no, this is transportation services to senior and disabled citizens.
We're going,
It's to fund, CAT, really to help fund CAT Connects for the remainder of the fiscal year.
Okay. It's not it's,
No, it's not software,
okay,
transportation services.
so currently CAT Connect is being funded.
Through, the, Transit Trust Fund program.
Which is 5310.
No, this is additional monies that goes to support transportation of seniors and disabled citizens. We're merging.
So the other funds have been exhausted,
They will be by the end of the year,
so this is just a.
yes, to carry us through June 30. To help with.
So this is coming out of our pocket. There's not a grant for what we're asking for people.
This is a grant.
But this will
We'll have to pay the local match component of it.
which is the $89,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions, Tony? We have a motion. So move.
Second,
Beverly, can we get a motion, please?
Okay, Director Snowden,
yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Chairman Cody.
Yes.
Item 4.3 passed unanimously.
All right. Now, 4.4.
4.6, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and the reason I asked for 4.6 is because when I look at some of the other reports, what I didn't see was a safety report. We used to get where what was, the number of accidents, what was preventable, non-preventable. I didn't see that in the report that we had before. And what concerns me is that the kind of money we have to put out Now, one of the things that I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, there were 3 quotes on this, am I correct?
Yes,
But we did select the lowest bid. Because I think it was like 32,000 for the lowest bid came out of California. And you had 2 out of Florida that was over 50,000.
they did not have experience in working on electric buses.
What was going on?
Hoping y'all ready to do your.
No, I'm saying, because the scope was pretty clear. Am I correct?
Yes,
So, but once it came in, then they admitted they couldn't work on electric buses.
well, that's what, they didn't have the experience in working on electric buses or hybrid buses.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw that, and I was questioning that, and the other question I had, I would like to see us, because I'm also concerned with what's gonna happen to the insurance. You know, every time insurance comes up, is when we see the cost of these, accidents. But I'd like for us to know in advance, you know, the number of accidents, the preventable accidents, and I'd also like to know, and this goes into the training part of it, the driver of the bus, although, you know, there was no fault, but somebody did something. Somebody did something, and that's a huge expense. Was that an experienced driver or a new driver?
I'm not sure on who the driver was,
Yeah, I don't know the name, I just went back
yeah,
there.
I'm not sure, Dr. Robinson. But the company's insurance is gonna reimburse and cover all of the costs of this repair.
And the other insurance is on,
Yes,
so why don't we have to pay up front just so we get the
so
stuff
we
back?
can, we need the bus.
So, but we will get all our money back. I thought we were paying out of pocket.
Well, we have to front it.
Right, that's what my
Yeah.
concern was.
Yeah.
But I am concerned about the, you know, who the driver, the experience of the driver, and if it could have been avoided, what could have been done? Because, you know, we're getting a whole lot of new people in, and if the accidents are having these new people, we need to take a second look at our training process. So
I
I would
wanna,
like, yeah.
ask Dr. Manny, because the after training, they have resources that we can take advantage of to follow up so that we can bring some of that training into complement what we already do.
And I think that's a good data piece to start collecting with who is involved in these accidents. And if it's new training, what do we do to up our ante and how we train these new drivers? So I think that's data that I would like to see. And I
I'll
would
make
like to
sure
know.
we get a report
Yeah.
on the accident injuries.
Yeah, can we start with this particular bus? Like, was it a new driver, a new trainee or old driver? Thank you. Okay, I move that we, and the other thing. I move that we, approve the request to issue purchase order for repair bus 2106. I will second that.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Director Snowden,
Yes.
Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes, that.
Director Adams,
Yes.
Director Robinson,
Yeah.
Director Leggett,
Yes.
Director Taylor.
Yeah.
And Chairman Foley.
Yes.
Chairman motion passed to approve item 4.6 under individual.
Thank you. On 4.7, request board of approval to ratify zero fair day extension.
Chairman, that was one item that, Director Robinson agreed to say on the
Was
consent.
not voted.
Yeah,
So-
so-
House, that's part of the consent.
Individual.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
All right. We'll be moving to executive director report, unit update. Our CEO, Mr. Cut.
Thank you, Chairman. We talked about, a lot today. One item on, my list to mention to the board was the dredging issue, when something will be forthcoming, to the board outlining that and what we're trying to do, in order to, accommodate that setback. Also, I think the community is looking forward to the arrival of the new ferries. And we'll be sitting down and meeting with staff and our community partners to present an outline of what the celebration would look like to obtain board feedback. So you'll be getting some ideas and a request for you all to share your ideas as to how you would like to see this celebration. I think it's very important. We highlight how these vessels get people to work across the river. Desire for them to be a part, the public at large to be a part of the celebration. The board, of course, to be the face of it. This was a hard project in terms of finding funding, but we got there with the board's support for our employees to be a part. So all of that will be forthcoming. Looking probably, because once the vessels get here, they have to go through sea trials, they have to be inspected by the Coast Guard. There are a lot of things that have to occur before the public, they can be utilized to provide public transportation. So we'll probably be looking at sometime in January.
Of 2025?
Yes.
Okay, will you be taking a trip to the manufacturer?
Yes.
To see,
Yes.
can a board member go with me?
I was gonna suggest that really,
Yeah.
Somebody needs to
Yeah,
see what it looks like, asking questions. That was on the list.
I would want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely.
Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ms. Cutter, I'm not sure if you guys already said anything about it, but, before we put another vessel in the water, has anyone done any maintenance on our landings, in light of what happened in Sapelo?
We have, this year, there has been repairs on the dock behind City Hall. The Waving Girl, and there's some planned work on the dock, across the river. Yes.
Yeah, do they have a timeline on when that landing will be finished over across the river? I know they had a crack in the wall, and they've been working on that for the past 2 years.
I'll try to get a date on that, Director Luckett. I don't have a date.
It's been a while since we've been working on it.
It's been slow. You're absolutely correct.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the ferry vessels, that was the major thing. And you received a report on the recruitment status. Did you all have a time to look at it to see if you had any questions?
I keep going back to the CAO, because it's not listed as an open,
Oh, it's under recruitment.
but I'm saying it's not on the list as an open,
Because they're not recruiting.
so when we recruit the drivers, we have a recruiter. We recruit the staff that is different recruiter.
When we enter into the contractual agreement that was entered into with the recruiter, it said that there could be no other recruitment activity outside of what they are doing.
So, but you said to me, they haven't got to any,
Not yet, because they're just really getting started. The board made it clear that they wanted to move forward with that particular recruitment. I personally wanted to do something differently.
No, we didn't want to lose the money, because nobody, that's what, it was no for us.
I talked to them about that, but they were kind of dancing around that, well, we can give you a discount and all of that.
So, and again, maybe that be another conversation with the board member, you and the recruiter, because I'm thinking they can't hold us hostage like that. If we want
they
this,
can.
well, if we want the position filled, then we've got to be bold enough to say, get us some, candidates.
They I got an email last week as the places they were going to post it. I need to check to see if they already have, but they did outline, you know, the traditional places that they used previously. Same places that they advertised before.
So we won't lose the money.
No,
No, how long?
not for CAO, but if we wanted them to help us with a different position,
Right, but,
it may have been
right,
some cost to Cat.
But
See,
I'm-
I thought Cat would benefit from someone that focuses solely on compliance.
Why can't you give that to the CAO?
It's conflicted because the CAO oversees procurement.
but we can't change that.
Right.
That recruiter is hired for the CEO, so
That's
we
right.
need to fill that CAO position.
Yeah,
That
but,
recruiter.
but you can reclassify a job description.
Well, that's what I asked them about. If we reclassify it, and don't get me wrong, the experience, for Cat, the way that I looked at the position, what would be healthier for Cat is someone focusing solely on compliance. Compliance impacts, and that's a full time in itself because it touches on every aspect of this organization, whether it's maintenance shop, whether it's bus pre and post inspections, whether it's NTD reporting, everything that we have to do for FTA compliance.
Right.
Someone with their eyes on that all the time, making sure preventive maintenance is done timely, whether it's a bus or a ferry, dock inspections, all of that kind of stuff. That's what that.
But that's
person-
that's a
but you
different
can-
position, because my thinking is.
Yes, different,
My thinking
absolutely.
is, if you got a department, and let's say you lose somebody, you don't have to fill up with that particular person, you can decide you want a compliance person. So that's not an impossibility.
You can
It's
ask,
not, but this particular procurement where we don't lose money is tied to.
but
CAO.
can't you add compliance as a part of the prerequisite of the CAO? And then under the reorganization of the chart and duties, take procurement and give it to the CFO and put compliance under the CAO?
We could do that.
Yeah.
But right now, it's not, and one thing, we have to be careful of, and as we go through, whether it's an FMO or triennial, you learn from these processes. You have to separate functions. You can't oversee yourself.
Right.
Even with other operations within CAT, if they are connected, whether it's administration or operations, and you have a unit that reports to, whether it's operations, do you really think it's kind of conflicted sometimes? We're trying to address issues. And if we have situations and circumstances where the issues are not priority, we have a problem. So that's why I think a unit that's objective, focuses on compliance, getting out there, making sure inspections are done, whether it's a building, a dock, or a vessel, a bus, all of that stuff is important, whether our shop is compliant.
So are you looking for internal auditors,
No,
setting up an internal auditing department?
we have a compliance division, but it's not staffed properly now. And that's why I wanted to do that, because I realized that this compliance piece has to be separate, has to look at finance. It has to look at procurement. It has to look at HR. It has to look at operations, the whole gamut. Because we receive federal dollars and we have to make sure to avoid fines during triennials and FMOs. Somebody have to have their eye and be accountable every single day and move these projects that needs to be moved.
That's what administrators do.
Well, but no, she's on a whole different position for compliance, but.
Not both, not two. But I'm just saying, I thought that would be more beneficial to CAT versus what the CAO was targeted to do. That first job description had legal and all of that kind of stuff.
We always be that, but my thing. is
Yeah, that has,
The money is, the money is there, the consultant is there, the consultant, they need to be told, the recruiter, whatever, he needs to be told, we want applications for the CAO position.
yes,
He can't tell us that he can't give us something. You see,
he's been told that.
well, what he needs to produce, or like I said, get the board involved, and we'll help you with that. But she's gotta comply.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, on us asking, you know. So we need to move on, and then whatever we need to do.
Yeah,
let's
they
do that.
are, there was communication, yes. Mr. Chairman, I'll make sure I keep you, make contact with you weekly on things like that, so, yeah, I promise I'm gonna do that.
Thank you.
It's just so much going on around here, and the week
understand.
goes, and
Y'all just make a date, just set a date.
we will definitely do that,
Make the date.
you know,
A lot going on.
definitely communicate that. Just the HR stats as it's pretty straightforward. During the month of September, we took in 84 applications. There were 14 new hires, primarily 4 in fixed route, already with CDLs, 4 in the CDL training class.
Ms. Cooper, what's the retention like? I mean, if we're having to hire, then we're losing somebody.
Yeah, I mean, we are losing some, but we're holding on to more. I think right now, when I counted over the weekend, we had 88 operator positions filled. Out of a total of 98, but you know, you have to keep in mind that some people may have FMLA, workers' comp, that kind of thing. But with workers' comp now, we're doing modified duty. So they are coming in doing whatever they can, even if it's a customer follow-up or something. We are bringing them in to help enhance what we're doing. So I think that we're getting there. We just have to keep plugging along.
Now, we talked about, getting the buses refurbished and keeping the buses on the road. How are we doing with that?
Well, the RFP is out for refurbishment. Dr. Manny mentioned an idea to me just today. And of course, you know, I asked him to get with the CFO and the chief planning, and they put together a true plan. You know, I don't do well with impulsive stuff. I have to, you know, have the true plan. And we go from there. So, but the RFP for refurbishment, it is posted. So
and how long is that?
typically that's 30, 45 days to get the proposals in, then we award and get to move. A refurbishment may take 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on what it is and if the parts are available. But if parts are available and all of that, that's a pretty cool one.
Because we can't get the new buses in. We can't get the buses refurbished. My concern is if a bus is down, you know, and that come out later, how's that impacting us? You know, as far as being able to service the customer.
You know, now I am getting service alerts and I'm paying attention to that. Knowing when buses are breaking down on the road. And what I'm observing, it is causing some delay on some routes, but they're turning it around, you know, within an hour or something like that, most of the time. So we're managing that. Paying more better attention to preventive maintenance. And a lot of times it's coolants, things like that. Leaks caused by a hose with a leak or something like that. Nothing major like the engine just shut down. Transmission, from what I've seen via alerts. And I've asked Dr. Manny to take a look at the types of repairs and see if it's anything is being caused by us not complying with the preventive maintenance schedule. But what I'm finding is the fleet is old. Quite a few of the buses are fully depreciated. So those kinds of things comes with an old vehicle. And that's why we have to get ahead of replacing these vehicles. There were financial difficulties, you know, a couple of years. I'm assuming that had something to do with it. But now we are in a better position to do some things a little differently so that we don't end up in this predicament. That was all that I had to share. Now, Ariel, will you present the communications report? Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman Collins, Board of Directors, staff, and the public. I would like to start off with Hurricane Helene awareness. As you all know, Hurricane Helene did some damage in Chatham County, and that also interrupted service for Chatham area transit. The communications and marketing team actively engaged with the public, news, text alert systems that we have to make sure that our riders knew about our closures or delays or service interruptions. These are just some of the alerts that we posted on social media and our website. Very similar to August for Tropical Storm Debbie and similar to the one storm we had in October. Our cat tracker data numbers, we had 2 new users on Apple and 77 on Google Play. Our monthly active data continues to be high for people who are actively using the cat tracker. For Apple, it's almost 1,200 users in September, and Google, almost 2,500. Social media, with all the service delays, interruptions with the storms, we gained more followers on social media. Most notably, our Facebook, we gained at least 100 followers alone in September. Rebranding, as you all know, that CAT's communications and marketing is working to rebrand CAT in many numerous ways. I wanted to make a correction in your board report. It said that communications and marketing will be scheduling a workshop with the board, but we will be working with the ICEO and she will schedule a meeting with you guys just to make that correction. You're welcome. What's next? You guys all approved the Cat to the Polls DERP initiative today. So starting later on today after the meeting, we will start promoting that with news releases, social media, public access channels, that's the city and the county, to spread the word. We are also trying a new initiative, an idea from ICEO Cutter to do a new stakeholder newsletter to keep
The cat to the poll is just on election day.
election
not for a
day
thing. Okay,
and a general runoff.
right, but
just
not
in
for
case.
things for it.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
You okay?
I didn't know you were ready to move on.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I talk a little fast. The stakeholder newsletter will be about what CAT is doing, because we believe our stakeholders need to be engaged with what CAT is doing so that they can buy in and help us spread all the good news and all the good things that the board approved, etc. It will have updates about our plans and our projects that are underway. And that goes out very soon, and we will send you all a copy through Ms. Beverly as well.
To be quarterly.
Quarterly, yes, ma'am. Any questions? All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Hello, Chairman Cody of Board of Directors, the public watching us alive. I am happy to inform all of you, in case you lost count, that last week was my 2 years with you guys. It came so fast I didn't even recognize it. So I think by now you all have seen what I've done and what I've not done. My contribution to CAT in my own grading, I think I've done very well. So you can all grade me later on, but that's what I think. Okay, I'm gonna run through this quick. So the fixed rod on-time performance, comparing that to last month, the month of August, we were 3% short. So August was 75 and September last month was 72%. Ridership went up in September, we're at 171,916. Compared to August, September was much better. Anytime ridership's high, it's good business. When drivers sign up overtime, it's all about sometimes route. If routes don't go out, ridership is also sometimes down. So the demand is there. Yes, and we have zero. Because people were riding free. So,
but you were saying something about when the routes go out and there was two.
okay, so I mean, I've said this almost 2 years and I'll say it again. The transit industry is, if you have service that you can provide, then your ridership is always going to be low. That's
So you
just
said our service in September was good.
was good
In
and
addition to.
free rides.
That-
Yes. Okay.
Those numbers don't match.
I know they don't.
What number is too much?
It says September 171,916.
Yeah,
Then it
and
says September 100.
yeah, and there's explanation to that.
171,632.
Can I explain that to you? So our APC, which is what Ms. Carter has been talking about, when people ride the bus, you're going to see that report from Mary's report. So this is what fixed rod got. The one lower one was what planning had. And I told Mary about it. We're going to explain that. So Our APC is when you ride the bus, it counts number of people coming on the bus. If you have a luggage or anything, it counts you double. So this is why when Ms. Carter was talking, I wanted to explain why the need of upgrading our APC system.
But
The-
the question is about the graph.
Yeah, I did that for purpose. That's why I'm telling you that when Mary reports her stuff, you're gonna see the 632.
So, but I guess my question would be, why did your number just match?
It doesn't matter because she's gonna report hers. I'm giving you upfront about why this is that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about this one and the one and the gray one, yeah. So fixed route reported 171,960. Planning had 1,171,632. And I put this on purpose to explain to you, this is why our APC, the APC is what counts people on the bus.
So which number do you agree with? Which one do you think is accurate?
Well, none of them that I agree with because it's not accurate, both.
So what my point is to you is when you do a graph and you show us that, the number count should be the same number on your graph.
Well, I can't lie to the board.
No, listen to me. When you do something like that, that's confusing. Because Mary can always come back and say whatever she says. But, I'm just saying, there's a way you do graphs that should make sense. And that does not make sense. If that's your figure, and you think your figure is correct, your graph should be reflective of that. That's
I could do that, but then when Mary comes to report a lower number, then
that's the departmental thing y'all have to work out. But I'm just making a suggestion. That's all.
okay. I mean, you have all seen me report this, it's never been the same. So I did this on reason to tell you guys why I have this September number for fixed route, and this is what the planning number is. But I take that as an advice, okay? Next slide, please. All right, so paratransit, we have the highest number since I've been here, 99.3% on time, and our average is 95. So you can tell that the paratransit is doing well. As you all can remember, we have 10 electric vehicles, and then we have also 10 gasoline vehicles, in all 20 replaced vehicles since I've been here. So on-time performance is going to be good. Also, one thing I've said here over, and I don't know if anybody's paying attention. In the past,
I am, and you're saying that paratransit is all time 99.3% of the time?
for the month of September.
Maybe that's why I that phone call, the flight, because it's increasing.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, I don't know. This is reported for September. The month of September, we had 93.3%, 99.3%.
Just like to introduce. In the month of September, a new reporting strategy was put in place, wherein reports were coming to the ISCO at 10 noon and at 4 o'clock to monitor how well we were serving and keeping our clients. And I think it helps with accountability, with staff, knowing the expectation is to get the clientele picked up, dropped off and picked up on time. We're still having some problems with delayed pickups, but a lot more attention is being given to paratransit. One thing Director Taylor said last month at his home, when someone has been dialyzed, they need to get home. So we're really trying to improve that. Another thing that came up was that we allow people 5 minutes and we leave. That's just not acceptable. People with disabilities and the elderly, they move a little slower than the normal person. So this new software, we are looking at procuring. They'll be notified 15 minutes or whatever ahead of time, so they know we're closed. So as we dig deeper into how we provide service, we will be making changes to serve our customers.
Ms. Cutter, the 99.3, does that include unscheduled and when you got refined unscheduled is on the hour end? So we mastered that.
Can I explain that?
Because if you got 99 percent performance, that's almost 100%.
At 99%, nobody should be calling complaining.
Exactly.
Well,
And
now that is high, Dr. Manny, that's his area. But the complaints have come down. What they are complaining about, and I'll give you an example. You have one customer that may want to go 4 places, different places. And there may be a delay in getting that person to 4 places. So it's those kinds of tweaks we're trying to work out, but now we have drivers on Extra Board. The microtransit driver that we have is also complementing paratransit to help address some of these.
so again, when we talk about the non-scheduled,
The unscheduled,
again, not unscheduled, that's included at 99.3% what my question is.
that is
Yes.
my understanding, because when I look at the report at 10 o'clock, I see how many are unscheduled.
Okay.
At 12 o'clock, I expect them to be scheduled.
Mhm.
By 4 o'clock, the goal is for everyone to have been scheduled. If we have enough staffing in place, that is the goal. So now ask me if, well, I'll let Dr. Manning talk.
So, everything that we do internally, sometimes doesn't come to the board, but I created a template so the CEO can capture 10 a.m., noon, and 4 p.m. And when we say on-time performance, in the past, there's a window, so 9 o'clock, I have to pick you up. If I come 15 minutes early, or if I come 15 minutes after, I'm on time. So in the past, all this was not calculated. So when the driver gets there 9:01, it's calculated the driver is late, but the driver is within the window. So this are all the stuff. I mean, probably we'll have to do another workshop where I really need time to be with the board. There's so many stuff that I think the board should know. And if the board knows, then they can understand how the whole setup and how transit runs. So on top.
But you're talking about almost 100%.
Yeah.
If you were talking about 85%, we could digest that.
Yeah.
But you're saying that your staff is almost at 100%. And these little old people be calling hot and fired up. And it's hard to believe that we at almost 100% when we have seniors who are not staying there.
My question is, does this include pickup, drop off?
Yes,
and
this-
pickup?
This is on time pickup. So if the manifest is done today for tomorrow, drivers have all time to be at the customer's pickup area. So this is all capturing what percentage was the driver there to the client's location, pickup location. And now back to what she was asking for unscheduled, and I've said this over and over, unscheduled is people standing by. So of course, they're all part of the clientele for the day.
Here again, validity of data, and that's why I support technology. What goes in is what comes out, no manipulation.
And if you guys are saying 99.3 is what it is, I'm just having a hard time.
Well,
Well, the complaints,
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
let's be clear about this, okay, and then we can move on. In the month of September, snow wheel was at 99%.
Okay.
I,
You the rider.
I sat down on treatment the whole month of September, and people come to me telling me, asking me where's their bus, for the whole month. The entire month of September, 15 days out of this month of September, I'm trying to get treatment. And people coming to me asking me where's my bus? So
They were being
99,
late picked up.
so 99.3, and this is after the 15 minutes, because they understand they got 15 minutes out.
Yes,
These are people that got off the dialysis and waiting on their ride, and not only at my location, 4 and 5 other locations, because people know that Director Taylor is at Mercy Boulevard. People calling me from Montgomery Street, Drayton, Highway 17 in the month of September. So that 99 is kind of,
high number.
So
yeah, it's really high, and whoever gave you those numbers, tell them come see me.
Okay.
Now, this is, Dr. Manning, please explain to you. And these are the number of scheduled pickups, not whether they were late, and that kind of thing. These are actual
Pickup,
pickups
Pickup.
that were scheduled
Scheduled.
for service,
Yeah.
is that correct?
that's correct. And even the unscheduled that we decide to pick them up, they also have time that we're gonna pick them up. So, this is the data I have. And then again, we have a webinar that done, and I'm glad I had Ms. Carter to join it. And Ms. Carter saw the software. Everything we're talking about, I've worked so many 7 transit places. This is the only place that technology is never used. So when Ms. Carter was on that board, Ms. Carter said, wow, let's see the report. This report will tell the passenger the driver has 5 minutes to get to your location. When the driver gets there, all this is recorded on the data. It's not anybody even. So then again, I'll check with my staff, but a better system would avoid all this.
How about if you add to your slides the complaints for the month?
Yeah. Because let's kind of, what might not be in your database is all of us, most of us are from Savannah. We're in the community.
So this would be initial, this probably is initial ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't the return trip, this ain't the connector, this is initial trip.
So picking you up.
And so
That's
so
correct.
now that we understand these are initial trips, the number makes more sense.
Right.
And this is based on the schedule of pickup times for the initial trip that starts your journey on that day,
And on the manifest.
on the manifest,
Yes.
that day.
Well, we,
I think.
we have an RFP out now for paraphrase, and it's gonna track all of that, where there's no manual manipulation. And you can call out the report, and the numbers come out exactly how they are, because it's tied to the vehicle. And what that driver is doing and all of that.
So I would like to track complaints.
Complaints, yes.
How many complaints you got? How many complaints were resolved within that week? And
And that's for only paracrossing, is that right?
that's the paratransit. I don't care about Michael.
But can I ask you a question about the, I got one question about the buses. Is there a way to, is there something on the bus that determines whether the bus is going fast, making some, just sudden stops or just not being handled properly?
You talking about driving monitors?
Whatever.
That's why if you're
Is there
there,
something on the bus that monitors that? Because I'm telling you, I've got some real concerns about that, and that's nothing.
are you talking about entire system fleet or just?
What I'm asking, is there anything on the bus that monitors how fast a driver is
Okay,
driving
so-
if they're out of range? If it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone and they're doing 35 miles an hour, can we track that?
That's why if,
You got people on that bus that are, old people and the jerking and the speeding and the some of the stuff I've seen, I mean, I said, I would want to be on that van.
Okay,
And I can't get the number quick enough to tell you what number it is.
Yeah.
Director, if I may explain this to you, if you hear Ms. Kara talking about driver distraction, part of the clever device, there is an upgrade system. If we go that route, that would detect driver.
Currently, we don't have.
No, we don't.
That was my
Yeah,
question.
we don't.
Yeah.
It tells you driver how speed, how the driver is speeding, and all that reactions, yes. And it's even recorded, so we don't have that yet. Yes. Mhm.
We don't get the same piece that I mentioned about, that actually part of the course.
Okay, paratransit ridership. The month of September, we were a little short than comparing to August. So probably that's why we're on time, right? There were low ridership than the month of August. Okay, Card Connect. Now, this is the only time that I've seen the ridership of Card Connect very low. And one may ask, why is the ridership so low? When we first started it, I set a KPI for 700 passengers per month. And if you look at all the numbers, we see that we were all in the thousands. But the month of September is 793, all because of the hurricanes that we had September. So service was suspended, and that's contributed to Card Connect ridership for the month of September. Marine ridership. If you all can recall, I think it was in June, July, we had about 100,000 passengers. Yeah, I don't know when we're gonna have that again. The month of September was 40,495.
We don't have that slide in our book, we do.
Oh, you know,
I'm asking.
you should have, it was in marine services. You don't have that? I was resending this to the board.
It's down to the bottom. It's down to the bottom under the paratransit stops.
Okay.
I can help Beverly resend that to you.
That's fine, but that's the other thing, that you don't get the stuff on time, you're not. Okay.
Well, the problem is, I just want to explain this to you. To put this report together, I rely on about 7 departments. So before I can create all this report. So if anything is not on there, I have to wait till I get it. So back to the marine ridership was low September as compared to August. And I apologize to the board, anybody that didn't have a copy of the marine services. On the maintenance side, the mean distance between vehicles. That means how long can we run before our vehicles break down? And we'll be doing pretty well. Like I said, the national average is 14,000. Our average is 12,000. But if you look at these numbers, every month we have been exceeding these numbers. That means our mechanics are doing all what they can. Even under so many structure, that causes delays to get parts and all that stuff. And so I applaud them for getting non-EVs, which are the diesel ones, go up to 18,000 miles before they break down. That's impressive. And on electric buses, we have 16,460 miles. So compared, like I said, the national average is 14,000. KPI is 12,000. So this is very impressive. I think that Dale was talking about complaints. So I made a note to our paratransit. If you look at rudeness on paratransit was 2. And this is all the complaints that come to the call center. The problem is, are they valid? Everyone has been, you can have 100 complaints. Then you have to make sure which one is valid and who's not valid. So this is just a raw data. We had 2 rudeness on paratransit, and drivers pick people up and they were very rude. One of them was late. You had the late bus, and if you look at the fixed route side, 9 pass-bys. We need all this data so we can make the system better. The goal is to service the public and let the public get happy. So that's why we're capturing. This is not even part of my template. I created this to share with the board. Now, something that I think that O'Day, who knows more about call center, I'm not happy with these numbers at all. Our KPI says if somebody called the call center, you can be on a call 60 seconds, 1 minute. Within 1 minute, we should be able to satisfy the customer. If you look at this report, we have 4 minutes for somebody to be on hold, and that is not good. So I had somebody retraining all the advocates. Some of them were lacking, and so the only way you can get all this better is retraining. So we've got that done since last week to train them and how they can speed up the process. And most of the time, I don't blame on them also, it's just the structure. Sometimes they have to put them on hold, call fixed wire to see what's going on, and then by the time they come back, this is just too long a wait. 4 minutes instead of 1 minute is disturbing.
Go back a slide. Go back.
Which one?
Go slide.
Customer service complaints, yeah.
I don't have that slide. Can you tell me how many late complaints we had in September?
Interesting, it says 1 for paratransit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many?
1.
One late pickup and.
Yeah, meaning it's over the window.
That came through the call center.
This is the call center.
Calls
So-
that come in.
Yes, through the paratransit,
yes.
Yes, this is just a call center.
Just through the call.
Call center.
So the customer's not calling in, it's not getting recorded. Right.
Yes.
That's right.
It's verbalizing it.
Yes.
It's not getting recorded.
Yeah, that's why I say this is a raw data. So
But
if,
if a complaint comes in from the county to the CEO and she sends the complaint to you, then it should be recorded.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
they may not have called the call center.
but they call
it
somebody
still
here.
got to the
Yes.
agent.
Yeah, he's reporting on what comes through the.
This is a call center. Customer service complaints, call
So
center.
what's happening to us is actually see the.
Yes. Well, I've had clients call me on my cell phone personally, then I have to just go make sure their service right.
Then
So that, you should capture all that, yes.
Especially if it's the problem.
Yeah,
Because that shows completion of the service.
yes, you're right. I made a note on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the board request. And if you got this, by email, you're gonna see that this is all, data formulated. So all staff have to do is put the numbers there.
So what did this, because it's not in the board report.
I sent it all that to staff that has to be sent to you. I don't know how you guys
Oh,
do that.
no,
We got our book Friday.
It may not have been in by the time they received
They
their
received
books.
it.
That's what the issue
Yeah.
is.
so this report.
But I can send you guys this report again for you to look at it privately, yeah. So this was the board request to see how many were on workers' comp, how many were, light duty, who's training, who's on medical leave. And if you add all that up, this is what, when it said net available on the fixed wire side, you look on the right, you're gonna see that net available operators were 74. And if you look at number of full-time operators is 85. And like I said, it's all formulated. So anything you put in any cell, it calculates it and gives you the number. We had one resigned or terminated. Request change of status to part-time, 3 went to part-time, 1 medical leave, and light duty and workers come total 6 people. So you have 6 people, you can replace the still employees, but they are not active. They are either on workers camp or they are on light duty. So we are only focusing on what I have at hand. And that's why I put the 74 in green. That's the drivers that I had September that are here, they're not on anything. That's the number they can do overtime or take a month out. So that's why, like I said, this was not part of the board report. I just created this so the board will know what's going on. And if you look on the power transit side, you're going to see CAT Connect Microtransit. And currently we have 2 in training for microtransit. We have 4 CAT Connects and 38 for paratransit.
I guess when you say the trainer, you have 1 paratransit, but over here trainer, you have 0. So I'm looking at 2 different things.
Yeah, this is a different, this on-demand on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, and then on right is for fixed route only.
So you're saying you're looking for a trainer for fixed route? You got a 0.
Yeah, because the current trainer has transitioned with administrative now. He's now officially, we just recruited him as the coordinator, but as a instructor.
He just hired a training instructor.
So what's that 0? What is
That means there's nobody, no driver training. Remember when I started the CDL, I didn't have a trainer, so I pulled drivers to be training the CDL. Currently, no driver is training anybody the month of September.
So you just hired, what you I don't understand.
A training instructor that would be responsible totally for operations training. Behind the wheel training.
So what is that person? That's the person who was applying and be trained the instructor.
The new that's your CDL training.
Yeah, CDL trainer. In the past, you're gonna see 2. If you go,
Nobody trained.
Right.
Oh, no.
the trainer.
Right. Okay.
Trainee is a trainer, so he's be training the drivers. Any more questions before we go to my favorite slide? Oh, it's there. Okay, cool. So I was on vacation last week. I took one of my vacation days to come in here. That's how much I love CAT. to make sure that the employee shuttle is launched that day, and that was Tuesday. And so this are the schedule. If the call center, the IT sees all done, advise board members to park your vehicle here and ride the shuttle. And as you're gonna see the following pictures coming up, it's a very nice ride.
You said you got a shuttle for employees.
Employee shuttle.
That's the reason why we went from 3 giveaways to 4.
Yes, ma'am. For the donation boxes, is that what? Yeah, I took one of that and made it an employee shuttle. So now instead of 4, it's 3 available for donation. Instead of us, spending money and buying another one, that was the idea. Yeah. As you can see, this is how the vehicle looks like. And that's the employee shuttle. That's me with over here with the ITC acting manager, and that's me on vacation. That's me on vacation, coming over from on vacation to make sure this is done right. I think the board should be proud of me. And next slide, you're gonna see. So the next slide is me happy. You can see myself, I'm very happy to be on board. And all employees going over to the ITC to relieve other drivers. In the past, we didn't have all this. And that's one thing the union I was very particular on that because it's part of our CBA that we have to provide relief vehicles. So this will take more than instead of one person taking a vehicle and somebody waiting. And if you look at the schedule, when they get to ITC, they have to wait 5 minutes for the drivers getting off, relief, so they can all get on the bus and car. So this is one of my brilliant ideas that I think the board should be proud of me. Yeah. I think, yeah. So, last slide, and I'm done with my presentation. So this driver was very dedicated on the very day that we were launching it. You can see her smile, and she did a very good job. So that's the end of my presentation, board members. If you need to go to ITC, there will be employee shuttle in front of our building. You don't have to pay. Just say hello to the driver, get on, and then we take you to ITC for free.
Mayor, I'm not sure this is your, his question. On one of these reports, 31 is supposed to get another bus. That's your. Yes, okay.
So, good evening, board, Chairman Cody, board, and the public, watching. Mary Moskowitz, Chief of Infrastructure Development. And I guess I'll get right into it. So the TDP is the Transit Development Plan implementation. And as Dr. Robinson pointed out, so the goal of the TDP is to have the 30-minute headway on our high production corridor. And one of those includes the Skidaway Avenue, which is Route 31. And so we had initially, we were trying really hard to achieve that 30-minute headway. And also on Waters Avenue, which is the routes 27 and 28. So adding another bus to the 28. And so what we were able to do with the next upcoming bid is by adding another bus to Skidway, because what was 31, the feedback that we got from the operators was there just wasn't enough time in the schedule to make that that route. And so we were able to add additional time to the schedule, but that did mean adding an additional bus, which allowed us to have a 45-minute headway, getting close, so going from 1 hour to 45 minutes. And also giving that operators enough time so they're not feeling pressure to get, especially in that really congested corridor. When you get south of Duran, things get much more congested in that corridor. So ultimately, the ultimate goal is to add another bus on the 28 as well. And that way we would have the half hour headway on both the Waters Avenue when you combine the 27 and 28, and then on Skidway with the 31. But as Dr. Manny pointed out, we need the operators in place to be able to do that. And so, as we coordinate all the time, I'm always saying, when we go to these boards, how many operators, what is that staffing level, so that we are able to achieve that.
And you don't have to answer this now, where the bus is coming from.
So we have in our fleet, we have 47 buses. And so when we have what we call max pullout, so the number of buses that we have operating at the max amount of time, right now we have 31. With this new plan, we would have 32 buses. And so what the FTA tells us is that we can only have 20% more buses in our fleet than what our max pullout is. So if we have, 32 buses, 20% of that is 7, we'll call that. So that would be 39 buses. What we report to FTA is that we have 47 buses. Now, does that mean that we have 47 buses that are operating 100% of the time? Yes. So, and that is why we're doing the refurbishment plan that we talked about last week, where we're taking now, and I think we discussed this too last month, where we can't take all of the buses out. So when those buses are going out to refurbish, talking with maintenance, we are able to take about 2 buses out at a time. And as Ms. Cutto pointed out, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to go through that process. So hopefully, when we go through this process by taking 2 out at a time, say, let's take, we'll be, give it, travel and all that, and say it takes 2 months.
So you're talking, about a year to get through all 9 of those buses that we have for the refurbishment. Plus, we are looking at purchasing extra buses. We just purchased the electric buses in April. We are working diligently to getting those grants approved, but it's subject to getting that match fund, the T-Splosh money. But as soon as we have those matches in place, we'll be able to move forward to purchase additional buses. But those can only be replacement buses. They can't be new buses because of that FTA requirement to have 20%.
What's the schedule for preventative maintenance?
So I don't work for operations, but that would be part of operations plan. But we do get funding for that through the grant funding.
With you, with guaranteeing on the buses that will be out in these routes, then you have to have a conversation with operations of what buses that we could depend on, what buses that may go down, and with the schedule of the buses that can come in.
Yeah, so that's why we have 47 buses in our fleet, and that's why the max pull out. But so I asked maintenance, conversations with the ratio. Yeah, so we know what our maximum is, which is the 31 buses right now going up to 32. So that's the maximum number of buses out at a time.
Go back to your point. You adding buses to these routes that we generally don't have, but we haven't addressed the additional route that we're asking for going out west.
So
You talking about Route 5, Fort Wentworth?
Yes.
Yes.
So that 31 buses counts in, so that includes the Port Wentworth route. So the 31 buses that go out of max pull out include Route 5.
Yeah. Now, does 3B go into Port Wentworth?
3B does not go within the city limits of Port Wentworth. No, it goes to Groves High School is the limit of that. Yeah. That's where the terminus is, yeah.
And so the passengers per hour, that's all, passengers per hour went up to 20.7, but Route 5 is only 9.8. Right?
So the passenger, so you're looking at the next slide here. So,
Yes.
yeah, so I'll go, so reroute, so the passengers per hour, so that's how many, so that's how long the bus runs for, so how many hours the bus is operating over the number of passengers that are on the bus. So the Route 3B operates at, there's 250 hours of operation in Route 3B, whereas in Route 5, there's 500 hours. It's a much longer route and going all the way out to Port Wentworth. So you have the buses on the route much longer than on the 3B. So are there any other questions about, so this is the ridership by route. So there's 2 ways that you can measure performance. You can measure it by the just raw number of people that are on the bus. But another measure of performance is the passengers per hour. So that's why we report both of those.
So like when we get new buses, are we gonna get some smaller buses?
Yes.
To cover these?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So when you talk about the passengers per hour, our goal is to have 18. That's a very productive route. You can see several of our routes already exceed that 18 passengers per hour. But to Director Odell's point, there are some routes that may not have that many passengers and would be good candidates for a smaller bus. And generally, we purchase 35-foot buses. We do have some 40-foot buses as well.
So
What's the smaller bus?
Right now, we've purchased 35-foot buses.
And I understand there is a 30-foot bus. And then even on some of these routes, you can use a van type vehicle.
Yeah, don't they have like a 25 foot?
Yes, 20, like a 25 passenger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
Because if we're doing,
it's not efficient, these
Right.
large buses on.
so like if we're doing 8.6 on Candler,
Yeah.
a 20 passenger van would be perfect for us.
I was surprised to see that number. I just assumed the ridership was higher.
Yeah, I think probably because they have the parking garage on our drive.
You're talking about route, and so that can, we kind of reintroduced that route, so it hasn't, it was gone during COVID
Right.
and it's now back. But also it has one of the lowest frequencies as well, so when you have a route that has low frequency, that generally represents a lower ridership too, because people, don't like waiting, so, that's historically been a pretty low performing route. Any other questions on the passengers per hour? And then ridership, again, we compare year over year. You can see historically, we always have those ebbs and flows in transit. That happens in all transit agencies. Some months people are riding, October's beautiful outside. We want to be out. Don't mind waiting for the bus. So these months tend to be higher ridership. As we go into the holiday season, we tend to see a dip in ridership there. But the good news is we are seeing an increase year over year. And really, I'm really impressed with September because we did see those closures for the hurricane, and not just closures, not just suspension days, but we also had some of our stops, were inoperable. We had some detours. So even with all of that, we still saw a growth in ridership. So I think you still see there is a demand for transportation, and those things that we're doing to increase the frequency, to make the bus more reliable, that is helping increase our ridership.
Mary, I want to make a point. When we look at these passenger per hour, specifically the number 4, it may not have a high number, but that's a very, very much needed route. So we talk about eliminating routes because of passenger per hour. We got to consider the real need.
Yeah, we are not talking about any route elimination.
No, I'm just throwing it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes we take a look at these movies and we don't need that route. But although that number 4 is a very, very needed.
That's one of the routes I'm asking about, the 20 passenger van.
Yeah, but you see, it connected to 31 and I think the 28.
Yes, there's a transfer for.
Right,
Yeah.
so, and because everybody doesn't transfer from 31 to the 4, does not mean we don't need the 4. Now, rather than use a smaller bus, that's fine. But I want to make sure that we're clear that this is a very, very needed route based on the clientele.
And well, on that ends my presentation. If there's any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Financial services. Everyone.
Our financial update for the month of September as follows. Our year-to-date actual versus our budget. Our year-to-date revenues for the month year-to-date is $7,586,000. Our budget $9,264,000 for the variance of $1,677,000. Expenses year-to-date $6,679,000. Year-to-date budget $8,617,000 with a variance of $1,937,000. Our net variance $907,000. Next slide, please. This is our revenue by category for the month of September. Our receivables for grant is 60% this month. This is a little higher than normal for us. We did receive FTA grant funding in the month of September in the sum of $1.7 million. Our next highest category is paratransit, which is 19%. Contract revenue, 10%, with all the other 3 categories are under 10%. And let me just state that included in the FTA grant is preventive maintenance funds that we receive. We were talking about preventive maintenance earlier. We did receive preventive maintenance funds in the month of September. Next slide, please. This is our expense category and our salary and wages, no changes there with our salary and wages being 48%. Employee benefits, next highest category, 21%. Third category, which is insurance, that's our third highest category, and the other categories are under 10%. Next slide. This slide gives us our ending balance, and this is our bank ending balance for our operating account. Our operating account, which is 11,767,000. The grant account, 5,049,000, and the Georgia One account, which is our investment account, September 30th, our balance was 8,633,000. Next slide. This just shows the interest that we earned during the month of September, which is 36,522,000. Our beginning balance was 8,597,000. With our interest earned, we had a balance of 8,633,930, 2024. Next slide. This shows our receivables or our receipts that we funds that we received in the month of September. We have our special district taxes. As you can see, our special district taxes for the month of September was low. We only received 220,000. According to our annual budget, our annual budget is 16 million. So September's budget is 1.3 million, and we only received 220,000. Now, our largest tax dollars are received in the month of May and June, November and December. Paratransit funds received 662,000. Our city of Savannah, and these are our per occupancy room fees that we received from the city of Savannah to support the marine services. We received 70,467. This is where we received that FTA grant assistance for the month of September, which is the 1.7. And the city of Savannah DOT shuttle, 201,000.
Those POR fees are really dependent upon what kind of activities are going on.
Absolutely. And,
And it's also driven by the share that comes to transit. And that's one thing that's being discussed now, that transit needs a higher share of the core fees. I attended a meeting on last week, and we do have the support of the hoteliers and the chamber within the convention district to go back to recommend a higher share of the POR fees. What I shared with them is the cost of the new hybrid ferries, the maintenance, the upkeep, the training, the higher salaries and all of that, and that's just not gonna make it. When the SAMI board was originally started, a part of that document was to make marine services whole. Whatever the shortcoming was, it would be made up. That hasn't been honored in years. So they need the ferries. They're gonna have to support the ferries so that they are reconvening. So hopefully in the future, we're gonna see a higher share of port fees.
This is our projected cash balance for the year. Currently, we're at 12,481,000, and that is our September's balance. And if things continue to progress the way that we hope that they will, June 30th, we're anticipating a balance of 22,285,000. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you.
Give it update. Moving on to our contract or monthly updates, I don't see. The back,
We got them in the book.
gotcha. All right, next we would have our executive session. We would want to take a 5-minute break before we enter our executive session.
We are gonna have one today?
Yeah, it should be long, want to enter executive session for the purpose of consultation with our county attorney to discuss potential litigation to be brought by or against county in or any officer or employee in which cat or any officer or employee may be directly involved. Yeah, we'll take a 5 minute break.
So move, you gotta get a second and a vote.
Second. That was into a room.
Yeah. Director Snowden, Director Odell,
Yes.
Director Stone,
Yes.
Director Lockett,
Yes.
Director Adams. Not present for the vote, Director Robinson,
Yes.
Director Leggett.
Yeah.
Director Taylor
Yeah.
and Chairman Foley.
Yes.
Chairman motion passed to enter into executive session.
Thank you.
Enter executive session with a 5-minute recess.
Oh.
Are we? Okay. Without the executive session.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone back from the executive session. I would like to say that there were no votes or any actions taken during the executive session. Next, under old new business. Under my director's item, I would like to address our Ms. Diane Swinton's request about the salary vote. I would like to ask you a question. Would you like us to take a vote on this today or the next? She requested earlier about us doing something as a board about the retention loan.
Didn't we already do that?
I thought we said all gets all.
Yeah, but after I further investigated, I had a few phone calls and I did not want to agree with the decision of paying everybody an increment.
Right. So what is the motion is to pay the $1,000 to the 27 or 37 or whatever that number was?
Yes.
So that.
No, I thought it wasn't that many people.
I don't believe it is.
No, it wasn't
I
that
would
many
have to
people.
confirm-
It was like
confirm that.
12, 15 left.
I would have to confirm.
What can the motion be that whatever the number is, that those folks who qualify get the $1,000?
But I thought we already made that motion and approved that.
We never took any votes anyway.
Remember, we talked about compromise, we're gonna compromise that and so
Yeah, because you proposed the compromise. What was the compromise?
It was to pay everybody and
take the money back, and then after that, but I don't think it was good accounting practice, it was confusing.
Yeah, we didn't,
So
we
never
didn't,
said-
not to do
never
is
said.
take that.
So I guess what I'm hearing is that what we really want is those who qualify didn't receive it for whatever reason, because I think the term I heard was initially we said all. And, so what they're at was, correct me if I'm wrong, Chairman, what I thought I heard was she's asking us to tell the CEO to pay everybody.
Well, I wouldn't say tell the CEO. I would say that when I read over it, it says to pay everyone that was here over the year. That's what I'm saying.
None of that is what we talked about
Yes,
in
it is.
the other, that's not.
That's what the retention bonus was for.
Well,
People who had been here over a year,
None of that was talked
Without
about when
disciplinary.
I was in
without disciplinary.
that last meeting.
Okay, well, what is it appropriate, Andrew, to have Ms. Swinton restate the request she's asking us to vote on today?
Yeah, sure.
So we can, as board members, we can finish. So that's what I think I'm
I mean,
confusion.
I'm not confused.
Okay, tell me what you understand.
My problem is, we did come to a decision.
Yes.
We
We
came
compromised
to a
on something, I don't
decision.
remember what it was.
We did come.
We came to a specific decision,
What was it?
and now we are saying
Initial pay.
that we are gonna go back.
No, but what was the initial decision? That's what I don't-
No, we agreed to,
We would have a
we
rec-
agreed to pay the people that were
We agreed
qualified.
that they would be
If they
paid.
qualify, that was,
Okay,
yeah, if they qualify.
In increments, if there were no further disciplinary action.
That's it. So why are we going back to vote on something that we made a decision on? Because why?
because we didn't.
Mention it earlier.
Remember.
Because,
She
yes, we
mentioned it
did
earlier.
agree. That was the decision we agreed upon. I'm sorry.
Chairman, what were you saying?
That recorded.
So there's no action or vote.
Yeah, we didn't do it actually.
Right,
We didn't do a board action.
Executive session, so we couldn't have voted
Yeah,
on anything
there
out of
was no
executive
vote.
session.
I didn't think we came, I didn't say we voted, but we came.
But
to a
we didn't
consensus.
do a board action. We didn't do a board action.
I don't think we thought we had to do a board action.
Because I think the idea was for the chairman to say to the CEO, y'all were supposed to talk or do something.
Yeah,
And you were
I
supposed to
got
write
it.
the
I
letter and
got
say
the
what.
letter and I did not sign that.
So when you didn't sign the letter, that means that, what?
I didn't
So the
agree.
question is,
I
pay it
could
straight,
not,
pay
I
it
could
straight
not
out
move
or pay it in
forward
increments.
without, that was, what was decided was consensus. I reached out to the chairman, a follow-up to ask, what do you need removed from the correspondence? I worked with Andrew, and I never got direction, so.
So is that the question, to pay it in totality or to pay it in increments?
No, it was what we had discussed, and that was, beginning, it was supposed to start, first pay, well, in October, but it was for every month. If there were no disciplinary actions, that the employee would be paid in $250 increments.
That was what was in your letter to him.
That's what was agreed
That
upon,
was-
and
that
that
was
was
what we
in
agreed
the
upon.
letter, yes.
And my response to that, my email back to that was, I was not gonna sign that because I did not agree with it.
What didn't you agree with? Cause
I
the
didn't
increment,
agree with the increment.
Just pay him the $1,000, be done.
Is that what you're,
And to tell me,
so you couldn't do it, what did you?
I couldn't agree with the increment.
yeah, I think it made it something easy.
I wanted to,
I don't understand.
everyone that we sent that out to that was here reading. My
No.
stand was to pay.
with no disciplinary action.
Regardless, yeah, yes. So
Okay.
wait
Wait a minute, I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing you say pay them regardless, if they were here for a year,
They was here reading.
That's simple.
pay them.
That's what we sent out.
You're saying no disciplinary action. He's not saying no disciplinary action.
You know,
Oh, well, where did that come from? Because there were guidelines, from what I understood in the last meeting, there were guidelines that. What did
You
the
wanna-
initial
email
letter say
Yeah.
that talked about?
do we wanna table this?
It just had the
No, no, no.
guidelines that we discussed, that's all. As it related to, the retention bonus and how employees, as an incentive, disciplinary action free, they would receive the bonus, and I'm gonna say this. A lot of these disciplinary action has had major problems. And that's my position. I'm not biased I look at CAT as a whole. And this is on administrative side and operation side as reported by the director. I know what it was on the administrative side. And all of the documentation came in. But when you have gross negligence, that cost us in insurance and, it's,
You don't get a bonus.
that's just my opinion. Now, I've shared that. I think we have talked about it over and over, and I agree, it needs to be put to rest.
Yeah.
Because I need to move on.
And the confusion came, I think, when we heard the word, we've been calling the word all, we kept saying all. And in the budget narrative, it was that everybody would get $1,000. That was the all thing. And so, then at some point, it appears that somehow that got changed into something else, I'm
It
saying.
wasn't changed. I left out the word eligible. That's what when I wrote that, because if you all go
Right.
back and look at the earlier renditions, it wasn't even in there. But I wanted to do something
Right.
because I felt we should.
And I think we should not make something simple complicated.
Exactly.
So if it
Well,
puts
we're
it
not
to-
making
if
it
it put-
complicated.
If it puts it to rest, if we're saying that, the cutter was saying, instead of saying, let's just put this to rest.
Yes, I
So-
want to move.
So what our board chair has said, he cannot agree with the increment. So what should happen is that we need to decide, either we're gonna do the increments or we're gonna pay everybody, whoever's out there, whatever that number is, $1,000, but I think the number needs to be agreed upon. So we won't be back here arguing about what the numbers are.
Yeah.
So,
Because I think it was agreed that everybody agreed, including myself. But it was just the methods of payment and no disciplinary. So action.
can I just make a suggestion? This is a suggestion. Can we let the chair, the vice chair, or the chair and somebody else, along with Ms. Cutter and the union rep, put this thing to bed?
And that's, good.
This retention bonus was brought from the union standpoint. I initially asked the Cutter to give the bargaining union employees $2,000, when she said she rather pay everybody in the company. And she would take it to the 1,000. That was agreed upon. There was no stipulation. In 2022, there was stipulation on an incentive that was given, but we are 2 years later. So when the board approved it, there was no stipulation. So we can't give bargaining unit employees 2 days before the money is to be released a stipulation when CAT has not given any incentive in 2 years. And these people have been working around the clock, doing the work that nobody else is doing, the bargaining unit, who moves the system. So this is not a liking competition. This is something to show from the company to the bargaining unit and all employees at Chatham Area Transit that they are appreciated, and $1,000 is not a lot of money.
Okay, now I have a comment because that statement is not true. Around the, negotiation table, when this CBA was being negotiated, that was a request for $2,000 for union employees. I was not CEO then, I was CFO. And the recommendation was that all employees would be rewarded. The retention bonus came about, I believe, in FY 22, had nothing to do with the previous negotiation. And there were standards that came with that. I just want it to be clear. I'm not going back and forth, but that was not around the table during union negotiations. That came after that.
No, we did not say it was around the table. I'm saying 2022, the bonus, that was around the table and the union negotiations. But I sat there, Courtney, Joe, yourself, we Dr. Manning and Mr. Mossman, we all sat to the table.
It's
I'm
in the
saying
CBA.
that retention bonus is outside of the CBA, and we had a discussion.
My suggestion
With
was
Cutter about this.
just discussing, but either we vote on it, either we vote on the two options, or we allow the discussion to go on.
I got one question to say. I don't really talk much, but you said that a lot of these people gross negligence. I'm trying to figure out what my reason is, because I sent an email out to everybody, including human resources, to ask them about my reason. And my reason is attendance. And I can say it on the record or off the record. I have a disabled child that my FMLA is entitled for me to have FMLA every week. And then I was, all these people that does not have attendance, they are not for violations, they are for attendance violations that the department can't do the right thing and code the things correctly. That's the issue.
You're not gonna be.
I am not going to discuss personnel issues, but that was one reason why staff was directed to take the time to go through FMLA because you could not hold against them
Right,
health issues.
right.
That was why they were directed to go through workers' comp issues.
Right.
Can't penalize someone for an accident or injury. That was not their fault. That's why it didn't go out the first paycheck in July. We had to wait until managers sent information. We got information early September. That's why we had to phase it out like that.
But
We didn't get information until late. And even with attendance, I had them to go back. If a person had an accident and was under doctor's care, and they bought that doctor's note back, they weren't penalized. Went over backwards to make it fair.
But what I was hearing was those stipulations was not initially a part of the $1,000. The stipulations of FMLA and, workman comp came later after everybody thought they were getting serious.
email came the day. Okay. I'm not talking about the email. I'm talking about when the retention bonus was bought before the board. It had stipulations and criteria. Now, there was somebody different in HR, and that's why I directed the staff to scrub that, because you cannot penalize for FMLA.
Scrub the FMLA.
And workers' comp. That's exactly right. That's why it took so long. And because when we got the information from the director, and they said they gave written warnings or these attendance letters, these disciplinary action letters for attendance. Staff was directed to go back to make sure that these employees were not on FMLA. If an employee did not get a bonus, it wasn't because of FMLA. They had other things going on in their record. Now that's just fact. Made sure. Matter of fact, it was 3 scrubs. I just got a call last week from a young lady, and I had HR. I asked people, because you have to look at situations and circumstances uniquely sometimes, because we don't have all of that. Somebody got injured in an accident. Her doctor the doctor says, you can't work because you can't lift, you can't do this. That's not their fault. If it wasn't their fault, we couldn't hold that against anyone. And that's why we had to scrub 3 times.
Okay, what I want to say, my problem with this is that we're listening to this today when we went through a meeting and what we thought we came out with a consensus. And then to hear that the action was carried out, but the chairperson didn't agree with the action.
No.
And let me finish my statement. The chairperson didn't agree with the action. The ICEO asked what could be changed or added or what you needed to have done. And instead of addressing that, then it comes back to us. I have a problem with that.
We have to vote on.
We need to vote.
I disagree with we just need to vote. I disagree with we just need to vote because we came to a consensus. And it sounds to me like we're at a place where the ICEO and the chairperson need to come to an agreement with what needs to be done with what the board decided. That's what it sounds like to me.
But we also, we need to be clear. Ms. Cutter the board did not set stipulations around FMLA or workers' comp. It's exclusive of FMLA and workers' comp.
I understood that.
Okay, so I don't want to make it seem like we put these stipulations in
No,
as it relates to
she made it
federal
very clear during that
guidelines.
meeting.
I found a
She made that
memo.
very clear during the meeting.
I found a memo wherein a former HR manager. And that's what prompted me to have all FMLA and workers' comp examined, because you can't do that. FMLA is for 12 weeks. And if an employee have attendance issue after the FMLA period, that's when it starts. But nothing during FMLA.
And it does not have to be consecutive. It can be incremental, but it's 12 weeks total.
12 weeks from this date to this date, and that's contingent upon what the doctor says, whether it's intermittent or whether or not it's continuous.
Right.
And they had to look at all of that. That was the direction to staff, even with workers' comp. The only ones that didn't get it were those that had at-fault accidents, where they ran in the back of somebody, or they, things like that, but try to be very fair. And it didn't matter whether it was union or non-union.
But we're not talking about those people. Those people are excluded from this number. Whatever this number is, workers' comp and FMLA people are excluded.
That's correct.
I don't want us to be, I don't want to confuse them with everybody else. If you on workers' comp or FMLA, that is excluded from this discussion.
They should have gotten it down, right?
Now,
I don't know if they,
now with the, I want to be clear. Now with the workers' comp, and the workers' comp law tells you this. It speaks about this. You have to hold employees accountable for being safe. That's the workers' comp law. I pulled it, I read it, and that's why if it was an at-fault accident, they were excluded.
But was it that many people?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It's not. And I want to get because we've made several payments. I don't know if the union is even aware of that. I want to get exactly the number from the payroll records as to how many employees that were here from July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024 that did not receive the bonus. That number, just for different reasons, after the scrubbing and all of that, it continues. And I think that shows due diligence that Kat was really trying to do the right thing.
And that can be put on the spreadsheet.
Sure
I
can.
see what I'm saying. Because I'm not, I just, so much conversation going, I'm not sure what was said up there and what you were asking us to vote on. So, but how we move forward, because we keep talking about FMLA and all this, we keep talking about, we heard, so and I heard you say.
We can't penalize anybody
Right,
that
and I
was on
heard you say you
FMLA.
wanna put this issue to rest.
I do.
So moving forward, and I really do think, and I'm gonna say this, y'all gotta help me. I think there's gotta be a better line of communication between our interim CEO and our board chair or the assistant board chair. Because, when we're hearing things, that means that there's not really been a conversation, there hasn't been any really fluid conversation going on, whether you agree or disagree, but there's gotta be a conversation, because Ms. Cutter, the board is what holds you responsible, and we do have a board chair, we have a vice chair, so there's gotta be something, if it's not the whole board, which doesn't always have to be.
I did reach back out.
But what I'm saying is,
And I did.
but he said he was not gonna, he was not gonna sign it, because he didn't agree with, with the, which I didn't agree with it either. When we talked, I didn't agree with it either, but I'm willing to go along with whatever this board, the accountable party, agrees to do and put this to rest.
We need to get, I say we get the facts,
Yes, please.
The numbers.
let's get the numbers together, and we can reconvene on it. But we need to take it to a vote to resolve this issue.
Yeah. What's your timeline? So do you use that?
I'll get I will not, this needs to be put to rest. Yes, definitely probably get I'll get the information, prepared and, you know, I'll get with Miss Dewens to reconvene, I guess, so that we can get this behind.
I like to call it
But we
special
have two
call
items
meeting
for
for that.
right, the bus thing and the, now, but again, the suggestion of
What bus thing?
Donations.
the donation.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and that'd be a good time to do all, I agree with you. But,
One time.
but, you guys don't think it's a good idea to have a discussion with the union and with,
Oh, I don't mind at
with,
all.
I mean, with the board,
Sure.
right,
Absolutely.
within the 2 weeks.
Well,
Yes.
now the thing is with that, though.
Yeah.
The spreadsheet that I'm providing is confidential.
Correct.
And it's pertaining to employees that are not union members as well. And, you know, I can do it by position. But still, on the administrative side, everybody knows. Who, and I don't think that's right.
Well, I don't think the spreadsheet should be available for the broad
For this
at all.
meeting, absolutely.
It's not broad distribution.
So I think that has to be a conversation with whomever the board designates to sit down with me prior to coming back, even with the union, because it is confidential.
You the chairman and the vice chair.
That's fine.
But you got 2 weeks, got to do all that in 2 weeks.
Yes, and we will schedule some,
So,
we're gonna keep in communication, discuss it a little bit earlier. We'll be reaching out to each other at least once a week, you know, and we'll be real the same thing.
But when are we gonna schedule the?
So, yes, Dr. Robinson, the next, right now, what we have on the agenda for proposed future work sessions. Well, fiscal year 2025 legislative agenda, legislative agenda priorities, which we were proposing to schedule for October 29th, which is next Tuesday. That was gonna be a workshop. And then there was another committee that was going to meet on November 5th tentatively. And then we were gonna have the passenger and amenities guidelines and bus stop inventory scheduled for November 12th. So that's the next 3 Tuesdays back to back. If we're going to turn one of those workshops to a special call meeting, we can do that to take action.
That sounds good.
Well, we were trying not to put the bus thing into November, we were trying to do that before November.
Oh, I'm sorry, bus donation, yes, that's added too, so we can do that
That's an easy one.
in a special call meeting and maybe combine the legislative agenda priority in that special call meeting.
But give
That's
her,
October 29th.
but give her the 2 weeks she needs to deal with the other issue.
So that would bring us to November 5th, and that's election day, if that works.
I really don't need 2 weeks. You know, these spreadsheets are really, it's just a matter of pulling a payroll report. That's, you know, I can turn that.
October 29th,
Yes,
special call meeting.
well, the chairman and vice and I would have to meet. Chairman, you know,
What time?
4 p.m.
Y'all work it on, y'all work that out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ms. Dumas, would you get with, vice chair as well to make sure that will work for her? I'll make my schedule with her. Absolutely.
Those 3
Well,
prior to the Tuesday meeting, is that what we're saying? Y'all meet that morning on.
So we can get it resolved by Tuesday.
Y'all meet the same day.
Yeah.
So we'll have a special call meeting, Mr. Chairman, if you're okay with calling a special call meeting instead of a workshop on October 29th. That's next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m.
No problem.
And on that agenda would be the bus donation, the bonus retention, the legislative agenda priority. And that will hold
On the 29th,
October 29th, next Tuesday
at what time?
at 4 p.m.
So, upcoming events, we have October 26th, SSU homecoming parade. If any other members wanna participate. December 3rd, we have Savannah Chamber of Biscuits and Bill Brothers.
And, Mr. Backer has a table that he has extended an invite out. Moving Carter to the board, and that is with the December 3rd, Savannah Chamber Biscuits and Bill Parker. And 10 seats to a table.
Here it's me.
Yeah, and it's at 8:30 a.m. So just notify the board office and let me know if you would like to attend. Okay, I can find you out. The right is code and wonderful.
Any more questions or comments?
Yes, I have,
Biscuits,
I have one, you know, in going to these conferences, one thing that I've heard, from other board members and other directors is, you know, one thing that has helped them out and the CEO and the, you know, incoming CEO is to have a forensic audit. What that does, the incoming CEO will understand exactly what the condition of the agency as a whole, not just finance, not just employee, not just maintenance, but as a whole. And I'm gonna make a motion right now that we hire a forensic audit team to come in before a permanent CEO is chosen to do an audit, so that way the incoming CEO will have a fresh start.
Thank you.
That's very,
Dr. Robinson?
thank you, Lord.
Okay, and then I'll do a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman. Director Snowden,
no.
Director Odell? Yes. Director Stone? Not present for the vote. Director Lockett?
Yes.
Director Adams? Not present for the vote. Director Robinson?
Yes.
Director Leggett?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yeah.
Chairman Cody?
Yeah.
Chairman motion passed to, for the board to hire forensic audit team. Was there a time frame or when we will report back to the board?
Well, we passed it on to you to start.
Yes. You work it out.
Oh, to work it out and get the request for the information. Or you need to let the tell since he made the motion.
Okay. I just want to know, make sure we know to you all respect it. Okay.
That's all I have.
Motion.
Why you only do that before you appointed an interim? Well, you say the exact stuff.
Well, no, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we done a clean house for you.
Yeah, yeah, that's not, because he has a principle, I was required to audit, but I took it as soon.
Well, I guess I'm a little too trusting.
No, but that's gonna help you a whole lot.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
This time, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
Good, good.
7:43. Thank you.
That was three.
Yes. 7:43.
My grandbaby done 40.